everyone and welcome to the HERON tutorial videos. I'm Tiziana Chiamone, the JAXA Training Manager. In today's video, we will learn how to get the best possible results from your HERON mobile mapping system, starting from the operative advice, guidelines and precautions for use. Let's start talking about the weather condition that can sensibly influence HERON's acquisition. We can consider good operative situation, the direct sunlight, the wind, dark location, but an artificial lighting is required obviously for panoramic camera use, and an operative temperature from -10 degrees to 50 degrees. We can instead consider adverse operative conditions, rain, snow or hailstorms. Remember that the main sensor is a LiDAR. Very dusty environments, the presence of explosive gases or an aggressive atmosphere, a shock greater than 500 meters per square second amplitude, 11 millisecond duration, and strong electromagnetic fields. Let me now explain some precautions for using the system. Kindly take a particular care of this topic because a wrong acquisition could slow down the next post-processing phase and will make things easier. Don't shake the sensor. Tilt the sensor slowly, trying to limit the movement to a single direction at a time, like you can see here. Avoid hops. Don't make sudden movements. Prevent fast rotation on yourself. Before starting a new on-field survey, it is suggested to run some preliminary operations. Scout the area to plan the survey route in advance. It is preferable to open the doors in advance so as not to create artifacts due to the moving doors. During the on-field survey, some guidelines must be followed to achieve optimal acquisitions in order to collect point clouds ready to be used in the post-processing phase. Remember that features and geometry must be recognizable around HERON. Common geometries identified in contiguous point clouds are necessary to build up the 3D scanned area in real time, but also in post-processing. As you might know, HERON LITE color field of view is 360 degrees in horizontal direction and from +15 to -15 degrees in vertical direction. As I just explained, during the survey the system must capture as many geometric details as possible. When moving in a narrow space, as for example a corridor, it is suggested to orient the system in order to acquire walls and edges, not only floors and ceilings. The walls at the beginning and at the end of the corridor can also be a good reference phase for the registration between point clouds. In this example, the position of the system is wrong, as a specified overlap between contiguous acquired point clouds is not guaranteed. On the stairs, what I suggest is tilting the system in order to acquire most faces as possible. Do not miss the dedicated tutorial. I always suggest to keep a particular attention when you tilt the sensor or while you are moving from one area to the other. Ensure a good acquisition of the geometries around HERON at any time, and also don't go too fast inside the areas where the geometry changes a lot. Take care also of moving objects because they can cover the geometry, creating artifacts that lead to a misalignment between clouds. In this case, we suggest to stop working. Wait until the object has gone away and continue with your acquisition. What about crowded scenario around you? If too many people is around you drawing out the geometries you want to survey, stop working, wait a little while and continue your acquisition. You don't need to stop the acquisition. The unusable portion can be erased in post-processing. A dedicated clean data tool will be able to automatically distinguish moving points from fixed surfaces and delete them. But how to plan the working trajectory? Choose a trajectory that can close a ring if possible. I suggest to close horizontal loops, but also vertical ones, such as moving between the different floors of a building. A loop is also simply created passing by an intersection point between different branches of the same acquisition. Too long routes without any loops are not recommended. When your site is very wide, try to add some connection reducing loops length. On a straight street, add some loops by a zigzag walk. There are no time limits in the acquisition. You could theoretically work for all the battery duration. What I suggest, however, is to run the acquisition for a maximum of 20-30 minutes so that the post-processing phase will result faster and easier. It's better to import pre-acquisition of 30 minutes each instead of one single acquisition of 1 hour and a half. Your workstation will be grateful. In any case, if you would like to do a longer acquisition, you will be able to split the complete survey in several tracks during post-processing step. Thanks for watching and have fun with your HERON wearable mobile map.